Hey everybody, what's up? As you can see up there, it's time to do a little bit of a movie review. Um, Sort of a DVD review, but mostly a movie because this movie's not on DVD yet. The only known source for it is VHS, and if you're lucky enough, torrents, or if you're lucky enough like me, finding a website out there that uploads and lets you download 80 movies from the 80s like this one. And what's this movie, you may ask? Well, it's a movie I sent Zarin Isaac, and in my last in the last package opening he did for me. And the movie is called The Invisible Kid. Um, yeah, if you could see that right there, it's called The Invisible Kid, and it was made in 19. It was released in 1988. I don't know if it got a wide theatrical release or limited theatrical release because I didn't even know about it. But it does star. Now, here's the thing: it stars Jay Underwood. Now, some of you may say, "Ooh, Jay Underwood. Why does no one not say?" But you may ask the question, Jay Underwood. Why does that name sound familiar? Well, Jay Underwood was basically, I guess you could say, in the category of Michael J. Fox at the time. See, Michael J. Fox and Jay Underwood, and I think even others, were kind of in that situation of, like, okay, let's put it like this: Michael J. Fox, Jay Underwood, Emilio Estevez, you know, Tom Cruise, and even Patrick Swayze, the late Patrick Swayze, were all in a category of 80s teen idols. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's hard to believe you want to put Jay Underwood in that category, but he was in that category along with, like I said, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, Michael J. Fox, Charlie Sheen, maybe, I don't know. But basically, he was in that category. He was, and you could also put Matthew Broderick in that category because he had Bueller's, he had Bueller's Day Off. Let's just put it that. Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, he had that one. So basically, yeah. Again, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe or even see Jay Underwood in that category, but he was in some very popular 80s films, sometimes 80s teen films and family films and all that. He was in a Disney. I don't know if it was a Disney film or what it was. Well, he portrayed a robot trying to be human. He was in the movie The Boy Who Could Fly, I think, and a few others. But I didn't know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you didn't know this, that he was in The Invisible Kid. Basically, the premise of this, as far as I know, as far as I can remember, is who rediscovers his father's invisibility formula. Basically, he kind of gets the ingredients together, rediscovers, and recreates basically the invisibility formula. So he uses this to have a little fun, and as it's described on here, kind of get back at those who wronged him, bullied him, and to spy on the girl's shower room. And to quote Zarin Isaac, that's exactly what any boy or young man would do if they can have that power of invisibility, sneak quietly into the girl's shower room. Um, but yeah, Jay's character takes advantage of this, and he has a little fun with it. I mean, when you first discover him, I mean, come on. This is the one. This is the one thing that some people do like about the film. It's the fact that it kind of shows you from the perspective of a teenager, of an adolescent. How much fun you could have if you had these powers. What kind of mischief and stuff you could do. It's kind of like with the Secret World of Alex Mack. The reason that show was so popular for 4 years and ran for 4 seasons was because It was from the view of a young child that back then people like myself could relate to, and even kids younger than me could relate to, because we're thinking, wouldn't it be cool to have the power of electricity, the power to move things with our minds, the power to morph into, you know, a state of liquidation, if you will. To be able to do that, to be able to do that, and again, we were able to live vicariously through that character. Just to think, well, again, and again, I know I know I'm repeating myself here, but again, to just to imagine what it'd be like to have those powers, and by just living and by imagining that, by living vicariously through that character that we see on TV. The same could be said for Jay Underwood's character and his friends in this movie. Basically, Jay Underwood, like I said, takes full advantage of this. Like I said, he does get even with those that have been against him, as well as, like I said, as it says there, spies on the gold shower room. But he has fun with it at first. Um, like when he first discovers it, his friend comes over, because I think usually his friend comes over to study and maybe play video games or something, I'm not sure. But his friend comes over, I think comes over after, I guess, stopping at a fast food place or something. And Jay, like I said, kind of takes advantage of this by kind of having a little fun, like I said, like any of us would if we had that power, by making his best friend's hamburger talk, like saying, eat me," kind of deal. And it was so funny and all that. And then, he does kind of show himself to his friend and kind of explains to his friend what he had discovered, and he shares that discovery with his friend, and they use it to go on and sneak on to a concert, on stage on a concert, and play an invisible guitar. Um, and then, of course, you can't have a teen comedy or sci-fi fantasy comedy like this without a love interest, and the love interest is portrayed by none other than Wilson Phillips' own Chynna Phillips. That's right, Chynna Phillips of Wilson Phillips, who's starring that reality show right now on TV Guide Channel. Chynna Phillips does star in this film as the love interest. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, don't tell me she gets into the act. Yes, she does. Basically what happens is that, because I guess his mom, okay, here's the thing, Jay Underwood's mom, I think played by Karen Black, I believe, in this movie, is kind of paranoia kind of deal, very unsure of herself, so she keeps watching this TV psychologist or therapist on her television, telling her and the audience, what you should do, what this is, what that is. And so basically she's kind of like very, I don't know, bipolar or whatever it is, just paranoia, very, basically unassertive until she takes advice from this therapist. And basically she's kind of like a know-it-all kind of deal. Well, not know-it-all, well, not a know-it-all, she's basically like, she wants to know it all. Like she wants to know what he's doing. What's this? What's that? She wants to try to take charge. She wants to try to be that, but she also wants to try to be assertive and take charge. So basically, because she and along with maybe some others, like say the police, I think there was one scene where the police came over or something like that, kind of get close to the truth. Kind of get close to the truth. Uzo get close to finding out what he's been up to. He tosses the bag out his window, and ironically, the love interest that goes to the same school he does, played by Chynna Phillips, lives right next door, and she notices it in her bird bath. She notices it in her bird bath. But here's how it also happens. Here's how she also comes. Now here's the thing, how she sort of becomes kind of suspicious as to where this came from. Basically, Jay's friend takes more advantage of it than Jay does. And he tries to sneak into Chynna's bedroom undetected, but the formula wears off. I think. I'm not really sure. But finally, after he tosses the bag out, she finds it, brings it over, and ironically, she has like a dress on or something like that, kind of a yellow dress, yellow blouse, whatever you want to call it. She brings it over, and he finally does explain what's been going on. Now she, believe it or not, does kind of take an interest in this because she thinks it could be fun too to have that power, or thinks it would be intriguing to have that power. So he agrees to give her a sample of the power and let her use that ability like he does if he helps her uncover something at the school, I think involving the school principal or something. So she agrees, and so he lets her have he lets her have a sample, takes a sample, something that only lasts like maybe a half hour. It's like the more you take, it lasts maybe a little longer. So she takes enough to last maybe about 25 to 30 minutes. And as she takes this, she's kind of astounded. She's kind of like surprised and in wonderment that it works. And then it just hits her, oh, that's how you and your best friend got around without people knowing you. Knowing it was you. And as she kind of, and as it finally kind of hits her that, oh, this is how he and his best friend got around, she starts taking his socks off and she does she starts doing a little bit of a striptease. Now don't worry, it's a PG film, that's why they allowed this to happen, because she's invisible, so nothing will be shown. But anyway, she kind of acknowledges that now she gets it, that, this is why you did this, and this is why you did that. And it kind of surprises Jay, like, how would you know it was us? Well, how did you know about that? And she basically says, hey, everybody was talking about it at school. And again, after she explains how she found out and how she kind of has an idea now, or figured out by using this formula, that it could be him, or that it was him and his best friend. Like I said, she does a bit of a striptease. And again, like I say, don't worry, it is PG. She does a little bit of a striptease. And again, she kind of has fun with it. And like I said, don't worry, it's a PG-rated family film, so there's nothing to worry about. But of course, this was when PG was a little bit more risky at times than what it is now. But she does that, and ironically, just as her time with the formula is about to wear off, again, the mother wanted to be assertive and take charge and everything, barges into the room. So Jay basically has to distract his mother enough so that Chynna Phillips could get her clothes back on, with the exception of her underwear. She has to get her clothes back on, or get her blouse back on, so that his mom doesn't suspect what's going on. Well, his mom basically thinks, what, you got a girl hiding in here or something? Because she sees the underwear. But he's trying to distract her long enough so that she doesn't get the idea, oh, Chynna's here, but you don't see her, kind of deal. But yeah, overall, it's a fun sci-fi. I guess you could say cheese fest, if you will, teen comedy flick. Again, it kind of allows a teenager or an adolescent to kind of experience through the eyes of the characters that use this ability to, kind of imagine what it would be like to have that power. And let me check my time here. Okay, and it allows them to, like I say, to experience what having that power would be like. Of course, it wasn't that big of a hit. It wasn't even a hit at all that I know of, because I didn't even know about it. Here's the thing: I didn't even know about this film. I didn't even know about this film until about the mid '90s and early 2000s. Basically, what happened is I ended up. I don't know if it was after I lived on my own or when I was still living with my father or something like that. I think it may have been in between. But I had Showtime as one of my premium channels, and that's the channel this was broadcast on during the day. And that's how I kind of found out more about it. So yeah, it's a very cheesy 80s teen sci-fi comedy, family comedy, if you will, that you should check out. You should give it a look-see. I mean, it's funny. It allows it has funny parts in it. It has some funny scenes, and of course, like I said, it allows the imagination. It allows the imagination of an adolescent, a teenager, or a kid to imagine what it would be like to have these powers by living vicariously through these characters that they're watching on film. And yes, don't worry. For you adults that want to know, Karen Black does turn invisible too, but it's only temporary because she does see the bag and wonders what it is. She puts her finger in it, tastes it with her mouth, and her cheeks kind of go puffy and her whole body just turns invisible. So there you go. And it's only temporary because she doesn't really temporary, and it kind of makes you do like a double take after it wears off, like what did I just see kind of deal. But overall, it's definitely a fun cheese fest, cheesy, like I say, 80s teen family comedy, sci-fi comedy flick or film you should check out. Um, and here's the thing, here's the thing about these kind of movies. The reason these kind of movies are done mostly in comedy status. I mean, I know there have been some back in the 40s, back uh, in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and even now, and even in the recent 90s and 2000s, the invisibility storyline has been used for horror reasons, for suspense thrillers and horror movies and stuff like that. Hollow Man being one of the examples. But most of the time, it's been mostly used for comedy, and here's why. Comedy basically allows the character who is mostly involved with the invisibility to play more with the power. So, for example, in the classic 1940s or 30s film of The Invisible Woman, the main character can't get enough of this invisibility formula, and there's a scene here on YouTube where she drives a car that I guess her driver was supposed to be driving for her, but he got spooked by seeing a lady, an invisible lady, just walking right at him, like it was a ghost or something. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, basically these are used mostly for comedy situations. This invisibility trend is mostly used for comedy or family film. For example, the other comedy situations could be The Invisible Woman, the 1983 TV movie slash TV pilot movie. She kind of had, I guess, some fun with that. I can't really remember. Then you had Invisible Mom 1 and 2, and I suppose she might have had some fun with it. I'm not really sure. Well, it was mostly the family kind of a film to where she had to use it to her advantage to try to stop some bad guys. And the same could be said for the movie I showed you in my DVD update yesterday, Mom's Out of Sight. But again, I haven't watched the movie fully, so I don't know if she's has fun with it or not. So, but yeah, that is why this is always done the way it is. I mean, they even have a movie called The Invisible Dad. But again, that's why family films and comedy films are used mostly. I mean, why the invisibility storyline is used mostly in family films and comedies. Because again, like I said, it allows the character to have a little fun with it. You know. Now I hear there's rumors going around that Universal or some studio out there may be remaking The Invisible Woman from the 1940s movie The Invisible Woman for a newer generation. I'm not sure if those rumors are true or not, but that's what I've understood. But overall, definitely check this out. I give it on a rating scale maybe a 6 out of 10 just because of its cheesiness. And yeah, you get to see Chynna Phillips before she became famous with Wilson Phillips. Yeah, definitely check it out if you can. And I'm sorry this movie went a little too long, but again, check it out, give it a shot. If you can find it on VHS, or if you could find a torrent of it, or if you could go online and Google an Invisible Kid, download AVI or something like that, you'll be able to find it at some site. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say, and I'll talk to you all later.